5 or 6, you have two, you can put two adjectives at each place, which means there is order of adjectives. When we say red plastic chairs or plastic red plastic chairs is correct because adjectives have an order. So basically, then order of adjectives. And for the class 9 or 10, this can be a story starter. Alien, he's come to the earth, he sees his reflection, and then you carry on the story, what happens. Now, I'm just skipping a few because I don't want to spend a lot of time. I have limited time. So here, let's say when we teach grammar now, first, grammar has to be graded. Like first you teach noun, then you teach adjective, then you teach verb. This is called gradation of. Let's say we are not teaching grammar only as discrete items now. Now we are talking of grammar in context, contextualized grammar. So let's say the child has come to class 6. We'll tell them we want to see whether the child remembers all parts of speech. Up to class 5, we have taught them all parts of speech. So we tell them, instead of saying, nobody in the world tests that how many kinds of nouns are there, what is a noun, nobody will ask you the definition now. Everybody will want the usage. So you say that write up, these are various parts of speech, class 6, various parts of speech, use them to write a poem. This is called a diamond poem. We teach the children how to write it. First line and 7th line are two nouns which are related and yet opposite. Sunlight, moonlight. Two adjectives to describe these two nouns. Sunlight is large and bright. Moonlight is beautiful and colorful. Then 3 words, ing, related to the noun. Shining, warming, lighting is sunlight. Soothing, smiling, cooling is moonlight. And then the center line, nouns which are related to both. So how will we assess? It's not only grammar, it is not only ing form of the verb or the nouns or the adjectives or whatever, it's also about the creativity of a child. We call it honing thinking skills. We are trying to chisel the thinking skills over here. Each book that you pick up should have not only, see, first is the themes. The themes are the same across the world now. If the child has to talk of relationships, it has to be there. Mystery has to be there. Technology has to be there. Environment has to be there. Health has to be there. These themes are not only whether it's Nepal national curriculum or Indian national curriculum. World over, you have the same 18 themes. And these 18 themes have to be brought out. Themes and sub-themes have to be brought out in your books, especially from classes 6 to 8. The child should be familiar. Now here, yes, here it is. I'll answer all your questions, please. Let me just finish this presentation, then we'll talk of questions. So here we have animals, loving animals. As I said, one aim, there are 3 aims of education. One is content for examination. One is global issues. So animals, their friendliness, and animals as heroes. So we are talking, when we talk in terms of writing skills, we are talking of web organizers. These are called graphic organizers. But for babies, we use these kind of graphic organizers. These graphic organizer, for example, read a story, summarize the story in this table. Or read a poem and summarize the story. What happens first? What happens? What is it called? Storyboard. These are higher order thinking skills. Story from one form to another, from one genre to another. So, and the other thing that we are doing is we talk of life skills and value education as we are teaching. As I said, art can be there, predictions are there. Okay, coming to poems. I'm flipping slides because of the paucity of time. Now look at this poem. Let's talk of the poem. See, when we discuss the poem, How do we study poetry now across the world, including the literature teaching? It is first is understanding the poem in the context that it was written. The second is what is the tone of the poem? What is the mood of the poem? What are the poetic devices? What is the message that it conveys? So basically, what we are looking at is questions which get the answer out automatically. The question is a pointer to the answer. When we talk in terms of, let's say, class 6, when we are talking of class 6, we are not saying what is the imagery. The poor child will not understand what imagery is, whether it is oral imagery, visual imagery, but we are just picking up. Look at the page on the right side of your computer. There are flowers, there are trees in the breeze. Pick up the lines from the poem and put them there. The children themselves are automatically adding images. What do we call this style? We are calling the style hand holding towards use of language. We are not mugging up is no good, and neither will it give any child any benefit. Look at the simple exercise. A simple graphic, these are called graphic stories. Earlier it was called comics, and we were not allowed to use comics in a day-to-day reading. Now we have Shakespeare in graphic text. These are called graphic texts. We have Chaucer, we have all the eminent writers in graphic text. So when we tell the child, this handout can be used for 4 and 5, and it can also be used for class 10. We call it graphic text. We tell the child that the rectangular space on top of each picture describes the scene. These round bubbles with sharp edges, they are called call out bubbles, C-A-L-L, call, O-U-T, out. That means the character is speaking. If you see the last two over here on the page, the character is thinking. It's called think bubbles. Now, how do we use it for various classes? Graphic text is a very important form of writing across the world today. As I said, now we get Shakespeare's Macbeth, Much Ado, everything is available to you in graphic text. Look at the first picture, a hot summer morning in the middle of August. These two children are going for a camp. They reach the Tanglewood farm where they're going to be picnicking. I'm not going to do this with you. They reach the campsite, but they don't find any space inside. They put their tent outside, and at night they're pitching the tents. Then they're cooking something which is smelling delicious. But what happens late at night? There is an owl hooting. That means owl hooting is ominous. Something terrible is going to happen. Then one wants to go out and investigate at the sound. The other one stops him, but this one still goes out. And now, for the baby of class 5, it's a mystery ending. It's all right. How will we measure? First, look at the importance of graphic text. Instead of writing a whole story, they are writing in condensed form. You can tell them not more than 8 words in any 8 or 9 words in any empty space. It will be brief but clear. Grammar will not be compromised. You can see the punctuation, spelling, grammar, creativity for classes 4 and 5. Whereas for class 8 and 9, if you give this, you say fill this up, then this is the beginning, complete the story. Then let the children complete the story, what happens in the story. So creativity, similar kind of exercises, they can be for speaking, you can create bubbles, you can write story, nothing can be done without visual or verbal inputs. Now, as they grow up, for class 7, let's say, we give them a story. This is Dr. Jekyll and Hyde, a very famous classic. We have condensed the story and we have given it to them, and we have given the graphic. The graphic runs into 2 pages. They have the scene and direct speech. So what are we doing? We are accomplishing higher order thinking skills. The narration, which is in 3rd person, is being turned into 1, it is being shortened, punctuation, and it is also being turned into direct speech. Even when you're teaching a small simple thing like letter writing. We have to first begin